Hello and welcome to the Word Made Flesh.
This is our weekly review of the upcoming Sunday, the Word of God, and how to incorporate it into our daily lives.
And we're diving into the 5th Sunday of Easter.
Yes, 5th Sunday.
All about the church.
All about the church. That's right.
The Easter season is the history of Christianity post-resurrection, so of course we're going to find the birth of the church.
Right, and Acts of the Apostles is what happens once Jesus is gone, so...
Let's start there. What's going on in the Acts, Jonathan?
Well, we're still with Paul and Barnabas.
They're running around everywhere.
And literally running around everywhere, kind of establishing the church. They're appointing elders and really just setting places up so that the church can live there and be there.
They're not just going out and announcing the gospel and then saying, keep well and keep warm and well fed, see you later, bye-bye. They go, they preach the gospel, and who's ever lecturing needs to make sure you practice because you're going to have lots of names,
Yes.
Lots of city names going on here. They make their way around, and as you said, before they leave, they fast, they pray, they lay hands upon, by appointing, the English translation here is elders. The word is presbyters, which is commonly what I am. I'm a presbyter, technically. So we see Paul and Barnabas basically ordaining priests,
right,
to keep the church alive so that the sacraments can be celebrated once they move on and found more communities.
Yeah, it's establishing that authority and giving the priestly offices.
Absolutely. So they're modeling all of these church communities that they're founding on the Jerusalem church that they knew. And so it's this expanding family that is diverse but unified.
Right.
So good things. Where does that take our psalm?
I will praise your name forever, my King and my God.
What is our response to the good things that God does for us? It is, I will praise your name forever. That you have done these wonderful things.
Right.
You're constantly doing wonderful things. And we can't ever forget that God is always doing wonderful things. We've got to keep that in our minds.
All right.
Which takes us to Revelation. And here we have the image of the church in some sense.
Mm-hmm.
It is the new Jerusalem coming down out of heaven. And there is this witness of God's kingdom is once again for all people, encapsulating and inviting all persons into it.
Yeah, in the beginning it describes how there's no sea between heaven and earth anymore, that it's all becoming one, but it is this new divine kingdom that...
In ancient cosmology, there would have been the understanding, picture the flat earth standing on pedestals, lifted up out of the great abyss, and then there's this dome over the earth, and above the dome is water.
Right.
And then the heavens are above that. So that, you could open up little holes in the dome and the rain would come down so the water would pour. But now that sea is gone, and there's nothing dividing the heavens and the earth. It's really kind of cool when you think about what they were saying when they are writing about this, that the division is gone. Heaven and earth are united.
That's really actually beautiful.
It is. It's why we call it the wedding feast of the Lamb. This is the consummation of heaven and earth, the coming together. And the church then is called to be the new Jerusalem. The church should be a sign on earth, not of the divisions of humanity, but rather how humanity is all drawn together to form now this one people.
Right. I mean, that literally is what the church is. So
we are a new kingdom, a new people, taken out of this world, living in this world. Yeah. Well, we're on the marching orders of what Jesus told us to do. Our gospel.
Yes.
From John's gospel.
Love one another as I have loved you.
That's pretty much it. It's another short gospel.
It is.
So last week we had a real short gospel. To this week we have a short gospel. And it boils down to, this is the Last Supper. Mm-hmm. Judas has just kind of betrayed Jesus. And now he's settling in for his last discourse to his disciples. So he's telling them everything he wants to tell them
Right.
before his crucifixion and death. And the big one is love one another.
Right. And that's what we're called to do. That's what Christianity is.
And it's what the church is supposed to be. Like, if we are a community of people, what is the law that we live by? We live by the law of love.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, but once again, easier said than done.
Right. And even though Jesus says this is a new command, I give you a new commandment, it's not really a new commandment. I mean, as he says before, all of the law and the prophets are fulfilled in these love commandments.
Right. Everything else that he's taught and preached and given them is held in that.
Yeah. And so I guess, when we think about our own lives today and being members of the church and living in this community, how do we continually show our communion with one another, the love that we share, a real proclamation that even though we're living in the world, we are not of this world anymore because we belong to heaven. There's nothing dividing us in heaven.
And I think it's a good reminder that love is a choice. It's not an emotion. It's not a feeling.
Right.
That every interaction we have, we can choose love. And that's what we're called to do. And so just make that decision. Be conscious about it.
And what does love look like? Well, Jesus says, the way I love you. Love others as I love you. And we know he's about to go to the cross. So he's laying the breadcrumbs for us to follow. And it's like, okay, if I'm going to show love, then that ultimately means not that I'm going to buy you flowers or give you, chocolate or whatever, but that I'm going to sacrifice my life for you. Ultimately, that's what it is. That's what gives life.
That's what gives life.
All right. 5th Sunday of Easter coming up, and we keep going. It's a long season, Jonathan.
Yes.
All right. Enjoy. Take care.